Part 58. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 581. This was the moment when Wu Yu took his first step into the White Ancient Tower. With the mystery of the ancient immortal road, Wu Yu still felt that this White Ancient Tower was definitely not just a useless decoration. At least compared with other Black Time ancient towers, it was so special. However, when he stepped in completely, there was a small episode. Wu Yu. Someone behind him was calling his name. It was a person from the ancient country of Xuanhuan. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. When Wu Yu found this small white tower and was about to enter, he recovered most of his clones. Some of them who didn't have time to come back turned into golden hair and floated in the sea of clouds. Maybe the return of the clone attracted the pursuit and attention of others, so at this time, a person from the ancient country of Yanhuang also appeared here. Wu Yu ignored him and went in directly. But I know, this is not a good thing. Maybe 10 days later, all the people of the ancient country of Yanhuang will gather here, and then someone will come in and hit me on the head, at least I will be driven out of the ancient immortal road. However, since I have made a choice, there is nothing I can do. After all, when the other party appeared, most of Wu Yu's body had entered the inside, and he was just 1 foot away. After passing through the door, Wu Yu was shocked to find that the huge space in front of him was so vast that it was almost the same as the space inside the Black Ancient Tower. However, in fact, the White Ancient Tower is much smaller than the Black one. Such a huge space shows that this White Ancient Tower is not a useless decoration. Of course, the colors are different, and the internal patterns are slightly different. In short, that the patterns inside this White Ancient Tower are more complicated. Whether it is on the ground or on the wall, there are traces of many magic arrays in the tiny places. However, they are not activated at this time and look like decorations. Above his head, there is also the scorching sun, and it is even hotter. Wu Yu stepped into the middle of the ancient tower. This White Ancient Tower is obviously the first time someone has entered, so a face appeared on the wall in front again. As soon as the face appeared, he said in a mechanical voice, "Congratulations on entering the Tower of Time Control, please choose the challenge difficulty." As soon as these words came out, Wu Yu was stunned. What does the Tower of Time Control mean? Previously, it was the 93rd Ancient Time Tower. There are about 100 Ancient Time Towers, and this Tower of Time Control does not seem to have a number. Maybe there is only one. The key is, this time control is what does it mean? Before he could react, 9 magic arrays suddenly flashed on the ground in front of him. Each magic array had a different color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black and white. The leftmost was red, and the rightmost was white. The 9 magic arrays flashed at almost the same time, and different shadows emerged from the magic arrays and finally condensed into shape. All of them were puppets. However, the 9 puppets were different. L. Among them, the 6th magic array, that is, the puppet on the blue magic array, was the Tianyan guard that Wu Yu had defeated. To the left of the Tianyan guard, there are 5 puppets. Wu Yu can judge through his fire eyes that these 5 puppets are weaker than the Tianyan guard in terms of material, magic array, etc., and the further to the left, the weaker they seem to be. Among them, the puppet on the far left, who is in the red magic array, is red all over and emitting flames. There are about 2,000 magic arrays on his body, which is the least magic array and the worst material. On the other hand, on the left side of the Tianyan guard, there are 3 magic arrays of purple, black and white. The puppets in these 3 magic arrays are obviously more terrifying than the Tianyan guard. The magic arrays on their bodies are also increasing in horror. Especially the puppet in the white magic array, which is pure white, has 3 heads and 6 arms, and 3 heads, which are 3 expressions of joy, anger, and sorrow. The magic arrays on his body are at least more than 30,000. At first glance, it is an existence that Wu Yu cannot deal with. Choose the difficulty of the challenge. Wu Yu looked at the 9 puppets and remembered what the face said before. Obviously, this Tower of Time control asked him to choose one of the puppets to challenge. What will be the result of challenging different difficulties? Wu Yu pondered. He was not in a hurry for the time being, and carefully observed the magic arrays under the feet of the puppets. The magic arrays have speeds. Among them, the red magic array on the far left runs very slowly. The faster it goes to the right, the faster it is. For example, the speed of the second orange magic array is more than 10 times that of the red magic array. Every time it increases to the right, the speed will increase tenfold. Therefore, the speed of the white magic circle on the far right is simply terrifying, and the movement it causes is also the greatest. The speed is estimated to be about 80 times that of the first one. This is related to time. Could it be that I can get different change times by challenging different puppets? Wu Yu felt that perhaps this was the only explanation. There are so many puppets in front of him. He has fought with the Tianyan guards before, so he probably knows where his limit is. Obviously, the stronger the opponent you may defeat, the faster the time you get in the end. It should be like this, otherwise how can it be called the Tower of Controlling Time? Ming Long said, in comparison, you may be able to get twice the time of last time by defeating the Tianyan guards. If you deal with someone weaker than the Tianyan guards, time will slow down, which is terrible. You may be inside for 1 day, and 10 days outside. It should be like this. He remembered that he had twice the speed when he defeated the Tianyan guards last time. He shifted his gaze to the puppet in the purple magic circle and said, I am sure that I can win the Sky Silver Guard, but this one is on the line and may be defeated. But if it succeeds, it is possible to get twice as much as with more speed, maybe I will have a month. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Ming Long looked at it and said, forget it, this puppet is basically invincible in the form of the soul. Even if you can defeat it, you still have to spend 10 days to heal. It's better to be safe and try to win 10 days. Ming Long suggested that he challenge the Tianyan guards. Wu Yu thought about it for a while. The puppet on the purple magic circle was covered with purple mist. It was very tall. There were many more magic circles on it than the Sky Silver guards. It had a thick aura. Although it was in human form, it was like a giant beast. It was extremely violent. At this time he was also growling in a low voice, and was indeed a very difficult opponent to deal with. Sure, I'd better focus on dealing with people like Yanhuang Ancient Kingdom. Wu Yu chose the Sky Silver Guard. He didn't know how to choose, so he simply walked towards the Sky Silver Guard. As he walked towards the Sky Silver Guard, other magic circles changed, and the other 8 puppets all sank. If it can happen again, I am stronger than last time. I must challenge the remaining 3 puppets. If I can get the production method of these 3 puppets, even if I can't learn it myself, it will be a fortune. Facing the Tianyan guards again, Wu Yu was very confident. Furthermore, now that the physical power has become stronger, whether it is strength, defense, or even recovery, it has become much stronger, so this battle with the Tianyan guards is relatively easy. Last time, it took a lot of effort to defeat the Sky Silver guards. This time it was a little better, but the Sky Silver guards were still terrifying. In the end, Wu Yu used the vast sea Tyrannosaurus pillar to hit it hundreds of times in a row. Finally caused this puppet to collapse. Just like last time, Wu Yu got a piece of cloth. All the magic formations of the Sky Silver Guard were drawn on the cloth. As long as he had the materials and the ability, he might not be able to refine the Sky Silver Guard. After finishing it, Wu Yu was also out of breath. There were some injuries on his body, and even his shoulder was penetrated by the silver spear of the Tianyan guard, and he was recovering quickly at this time. Suddenly, the human face appeared, and in a cold, mechanical voice, he said, "Congratulations, you have defeated the Sky Silver Guard at level 5 and gained 50 times the time acceleration." Wu Yu estimated that his appearance was to announce the results. In his expectation, the time should be doubled. In that case, he would have 20 days. However, the result did not seem to be what he thought. At that moment, Wu Yu almost suspected that he had heard wrongly. His face was full of astonishment. Of course, Minglong was also the same. She said in shock, "Did I hear wrongly? It seems like that. 50. How could it be 50? I also heard it was 50 times." Wu Yu was even more shocked. He stood there blankly, feeling more and more shocked. If a person heard it was 50 times, he might have heard it wrong. When two people heard it, it was 50 times. Everyone has heard it is 50, so it's not wrong. Minglong suddenly screamed and said excitedly, "Did you hear it? Defeat the Tianyan Guard at level 5. Level 5? I understand why it is 50 times. Do you remember the speed of the magic circle? The first red one, the color magic circle, is the benchmark, the second one is 10 times the size of the first one, the third one is 20 times the size of the first one, and the magic circle where the 6th Sky Silver Guard is located is 50 times the size of the first one." Wu Yu understood. He suddenly realized and said, "That's it? I didn't expect that this time control tower is set up like this. First of all, it should be some kind of magic circle by some unknown means to identify my realm. Now I am the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm. The 4th level, so there are 9 puppets. Among them, the first red magic circle puppet should be able to compete with the 4th level of Zifa Kanghai realm. By analogy, the Tianyan Guards are said to be able to compete with Zifa Kanghai realm. The 9th level confrontation. I defeated the Tianyan Guard at the 9th level of Zifa Kanghai realm. From the perspective of realm, I have crossed the 5th level. If I cross the 1st level, I will gain 10 times the speed. If I cross the 5th level, it will naturally be 50 times. They all figured it out. This was an unexpected gain for Wu Yu. He originally only wanted to get twice the speed, but who knew that this time he got 50 times the speed. So, I can stay here in complete seclusion for 500 days, more than a year and a half. Yes. You're just lucky, Mingtong smiled. This sudden luck seemed a bit unbelievable. However, Wu Yu can indeed fight across a large level. This is the superiority of his inheritance. I am afraid that the designer of this time control tower did not expect anyone to be able to complete this step. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 582. Originally, Wu Yu just wanted half a year. The sudden 1.5 years was an unexpected surprise. The key is that only 10 days have passed outside. If the time inside and outside are synchronized, what will happen in Dongsheng Shenzhou in more than 500 days? What will happen if no one from Yanhuang ancient domain goes to help? He is not at ease at all. After all, his elders, brothers, family, and fellow apprentices are all there. Wu Yu is extremely talented. He knew what he lacked from the beginning, and the most important of them was time. And now, this tower of time control is like giving him 500 days for nothing. In their excitement, both of them showed great joy on their faces. Wu Yu looked around. 500 days was enough for him to complete a transformation. This is an absolutely safe place. There is plenty of time, so he is not in a hurry, but observes the surrounding environment first. After the 9 colored arrays disappeared, the time control tower returned to its ancient simplicity. It seemed that nothing existed at first glance, but with the golden eyes, one could see that there were many lines on the walls and the ground, and there were ancient mysteries everywhere. The relief, which might be as big as a palm, would have the power to destroy the world once it was activated. The time control tower could change time, obviously because of the existence of the array. I don't know how many arrays were needed to cause the result of 50 times time acceleration. The way of arrays is the most mysterious between heaven and earth. If you advance on the way of arrays, then Taoist tools and talismans will not be a problem. There are also the heaven and earth attack arrays, with mechanisms and puppets. Mastering the array is undoubtedly mastering the most mysterious way between heaven and earth, so from beginning to end, Wu Yu never gave up thinking about the array. If you are eager for quick success and put all your time on strengthening your strength, it will be difficult to go far. After all, for every cultivator, the purple palace energy and the physical body are not the foundation, the most fundamental thing is the Tao. While walking around, Wu Yu actually found a door opposite the closed door at the entrance. This is a white, steel door. Now the door is closed. There are many strange patterns carved on it, and there are several kinds of animal heads. Their eyes seem to be staring at Wu Yu, as if they are alive, giving Wu Yu a sense of majesty as if he is facing a god. Ancient, ferocious, and high above. The ancient tower did not have this door at other times. What secrets are inside this door? Wu Yu was not frightened. He still stretched out his hand to push the door, but it was obvious that he could not push it. He gradually increased his strength until he used all his strength, and the door still did not move. In fact, at this point, he already had a plan in mind. Obviously, no matter how hard he tried, it would probably not work. Because this is something beyond the rules, Wu Yu defeated the Tianyan guard, and now he is allowed to stay here for 500 days. As for how to meet the conditions for opening this door, it is difficult to know for the time being. Everything here, the mechanical operation, seems to be controlled by the magic array. Maybe I have to trigger something to open this mysterious door, and this condition should not be easy to meet. He was not in a hurry. He had 500 days to slowly study this mysterious door. What exactly is in this place? Treasures? Dao tools? Fairy spirits? Or ancient heritage? With curiosity and suspicion about this mysterious door, Wu Yu sat down in the center of the time control tower. This is the center of the largest magic array pattern on the ground, and it is also the position where the sun shines directly on the center of the head. This position is the hottest, but it is also the most suitable place for Wu Yu to practice. There are even some secrets of the time control tower here. The ancient immortal road, there are mysteries everywhere. Everything is so mysterious. Who arranged all this? Wu Yu didn't know, even Ming Long, the old thing, didn't know. Wu Yu didn't think too much, he was calm and prepared to use the ancient fire crystal stone first. Now, there is enough time, it is time to sprint. Forging the indestructible body of diamond is indeed a disaster. In the Tower of Time Control, for a long time, Wu Yu was directly covered in flames. His body seemed to have turned into a crystal like an ancient crystal stone. Lava and flames erupted from the cracks in his body. The surging lava, a large number of ancient crystal-like things, and the blazing golden flames constantly entangled him and rotated around him. The biggest change happened inside Wu Yu's body. I don't know when it started. There was already a dragon roaring in his body. The fourth level of the indestructible body of diamond, the indestructible body of Dragon King Buddha, is taking shape. If Wu Yu can really succeed one day, it is definitely not just because of luck and inheritance. The biggest contributor is still his own perseverance. Ming Long said that there are not many people in the world who can endure this calamity-like torture like Wu Yu. In fact, your mortal birth, from the very beginning, was at the bottom of the society, which brought you many benefits. Your willpower was honed by your perseverance when you were young. The difficulty is not the momentary pain, but the endurance day after day, year after year. Every day, every moment, he was enduring endless calcination and pain. He basically calcined all parts of his body, even the brain in his head, and melted the heat of the ancient crystal stone into it. The formula of the Vajra indestructible body was a top-notch method. This method guided Wu Yu's body, every bit of it, to change towards Vajra indestructible. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. The fourth level alone has reached such a level. It is hard to imagine how terrifying it would be if he really reached the 10th level of the Vajra indestructible body and reached the great perfection. Wu Yu thought about it carefully and felt extremely excited, but also horrified. At that time, would the gods be his opponents? In fact, Wu Yu sped up, so the time to succeed was shorter than the half-year he expected at the beginning. It was probably in high intensity, nightmare-like, full-body forging, tortured by the ancient fire source crystal stone every day, and his whole body was broken hundreds of thousands of times and then reborn, and a large number of ancient fire source crystal stones were integrated into it. The consumption of ancient fire crystals was much more than originally expected. Fortunately, Wu Yu took away 100 times the ancient fire crystals, otherwise it might not be enough. You have enough ancient fire crystals, but you can't waste them. You can bear it and continue to calcine and temper them. Don't rush to complete them. In this way, your Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body will be stronger than you think. At least stronger than I was at the beginning. This is Ming Long's suggestion. Okay. Anyway, I have persisted for 4 months. I have endured all kinds of suffering in this world. Now I am numb like a dog. I am afraid to persist for a while. At least, the strengthening of my body and flesh is extremely clear and can be felt. The current Wu Yu is no longer enough to be described as a demon body. There are not many demons in this world who can have a body like his. At this time alone, Wu Yu was basically sure that, perhaps, because of his inferior Purple Palace energy, it was difficult for him to defeat others, but other people's Taoist magic and magical powers were actually difficult to defeat him, let alone kill him. Now, he was an indestructible body, and it was not far from the rebirth of a broken arm. 2 months later, his Vajra indestructible body had been perfected to the extreme, to the point where it had to be finally completed. His method was actually to let go of one place without forging, so that the whole body could not be fully completed because of this place. During this time, he used the remaining fire source ancient crystals to forge the other parts of the body that had been successfully forged to the limit again, and then fill this place, so as to step into the road of completion. At this moment, his body, bones, muscles, blood vessels, tendons, and even internal organs turned into golden dragons, roaring and roaring continuously. All the dragons formed a Buddha statue, which was domineering, majestic, and Vajra indestructible. This was the Dragon King Buddha. Finally, after such a long wait and such a long stalemate, the Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body has been fully developed. At that moment, when Wu Yu roared, the roars of countless dragons were loud in his mouth. For a moment, the whole pagoda was roaring and even shaking. At this time, Wu Yu was not only like a super beast, but more like a collection of super beasts. When he moved, he shook the world. When he withdrew, he was silent. After roaring and venting his anger for a period of time, his mood was obviously much better. Now his eyes were filled with golden charm and his gaze was extremely strong. His temperament and divine power were improved again. Although his Purple Palace energy was not strong, no matter who he was, he could feel the strong and explosive oppression brought by Wu Yu. The Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body has been fully developed. I really want to find someone to try the power. Of course, there was no one here. To really know what level you are at, you have to go through actual combat. Now half a year has passed, and there is still about a year left. Wu Yu did not let the powerful body at this time go to his head. He knew that this indestructible body was very powerful, but compared with the super geniuses in the world of Yama, its realm was incredibly weak, which made the Purple Palace energy far inferior to theirs. Therefore, He planned to settle down in the remaining time. This was a free time. He was finally going to use it to realize the truth. 1 year, let's see how far I will be after 1 year when I leave here or someone comes to challenge me. At that time, they will definitely let the strong come in to challenge me. If I don't want to leave the ancient immortal road like this, at least I have to fight for the rest of the time. Being looked down upon by Zhang Kaijun was of course not happy. We'll see the result in 1 year. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 583. The indestructible body of the Dragon King Buddha has been completed, and the ancient fire crystals on his body have been almost used up. From this moment on, Wu Yu's most urgent task in the past period of time has been completed. Novel. Next, no matter how the people of the ancient country of Yanhuang want to rob, it doesn't matter, because Wu Yu now has nothing they want. Sitting cross-legged in this tower of time control, Wu Yu made the next plan. There is still 1 year left, and the first step he took was to improve his realm. Reach the 5th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm as soon as possible. Then, he will be able to learn another great magical power. Ming Long said that it is not inferior to the magical power of the lawless clone and the fire eyes and golden pupils. Wu Yu does not rely on Taoism, and at that time, he can kill all sides with just 3 magical powers. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. In order to make Wu Yu stronger and become an immortal as soon as possible, Ming Long is no longer stingy with his help. In 1 year, there will be a confrontation with the opponent, even the strongest one. I only have the indestructible body of the Dragon King Buddha. Not enough, no matter in any aspect, you still need to work hard to improve. Magic power, Taoism, realm, etc. He also spent time studying the mysterious door behind him, and even spent several days there. He and Ming Long tried all kinds of methods, even direct violent attacks, using the Hanhai Tyrannosaurus pillar to bombard the door, or using flames to burn, etc., but none of them succeeded. After persisting for a few days, Wu Yu roughly understood that he might not be qualified or the time was not right. However, he did not give up. While practicing, he occasionally had a flash of inspiration. When he thought of a new way, he would try it immediately. The ancient immortal road is now mysterious. This time-controlling tower is the most magical part of the Sea of Clouds, and this door is even more mysterious. If there is a secret in the Sea of Clouds, it is likely in this door. Realm. In recent days, the understanding of Tao has made great progress, but this is not enough. Still under the guidance of the predecessors, Wu Yu began to calm down and study the dragon ceremony given by Luo Bin. One is the Dragon Clan Alchemy Code, and the other is the Dragon God Ancient Array. From alchemy to drawing and copying arrays, to study and ponder one's own Tao. It is very important to understand the Tao of heaven and earth from the array and alchemy for the progress of Tao. However, it is more important to go out for trials, experience, love and hate, and enlightenment. If the two are combined and assisted, they will make great progress. The reason why many geniuses have made rapid progress is because these two Taos are carried out at the same time, and whether it is experience, alchemy, or drawing arrays, if there are predecessors and elders to guide, or even set up specifically, the progress will be faster. At the same time, like many geniuses in the ancient country of Yanhuang, they may not have to consider the resources for cultivation by themselves. As for the source of the problem, the family and the forces will have supplies, as long as they make progress in the Tao, such as the Kanghai Yuan Kai pill, which is of course inexhaustible. However, Wu Yu has to rely on himself. Fortunately, Luo Bin gave him the classics of the Shenlong clan. Whether it is alchemy or magic array, the Shenlong clan is extremely good at it. There are countless kinds of elixirs, and each one has many ways to refine it. Wu Yu got a lot of materials from the 8 Hell Emperors, which came in handy at this time. As for the magic array, it is even more mysterious. There are many things to learn. The way of magic array, just the ancient dragon array, can be said to be impossible to learn in hundreds of years. This is more difficult than the realm of cultivation. Any magic array master has accumulated a lot of time. In addition, Wu Yu also has the magic array of the Tianyan Guardian, which is also the object he can observe and learn. These are magic arrays that can only be truly comprehended in the realm of Yuan Shen Waxing, but Wu Yu's current research is not advanced. At least in terms of comprehension, he is not weaker than the people of the entire Taigozian Lu. To cultivate the Tao, one needs to endure severe pain like forging an indestructible body, have a strong heart, and still concentrate in boredom and loneliness without any slackness. Especially in alchemy and drawing arrays, this is an extremely boring way of cultivation that requires extremely high concentration. It often takes several days, which is boring and mechanical. Only the final moment of success can inspire people. Wu Yu's desire to become an immortal is the most important factor that supports him to move forward and endure. In detail, there is his pursuit of Luo Ben, his rebellious heart against the suppression of many geniuses in the ancient country of Yanhuang, his hatred for the devouring demon ancestor and his concern for Shenzhou. All of this is the reason why he gritted his teeth and persisted, and even enjoyed it. Every time he wanted to give up, it was these that supported him to move forward. I was able to survive the catastrophe at the hands of the immortal Haoshan, and Uncle Sun brought me such good fortune. If I don't become an immortal, I will be sorry for this inheritance. How domineering are the great sage equaling heaven and the fighting Buddha? They are the top gods. How can I let them lose face? I wonder if one day I can really go to the heavenly palace and meet the people he knows. Occasionally, he would think more. Most of the time, he was in boredom, chasing the most illusory way. He wanted to find the way to enter the 5th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm. Fierce battles and killings all the way, and now he is concentrating on refining pills, drawing magic arrays, pondering the way of the predecessors, and getting familiar with the whole world through magic arrays to obtain and understand the rules of the world. In the Tower of Controlling Time, for Wu Yu, time passed very slowly. Sometimes when there was great progress, time passed quickly, and sometimes when he was stuck in a bottleneck, it was like a year. In any case, another half a year has passed. Maybe it's in this time-controlling tower, maybe it's surrounded by powerful enemies outside. Wu Yu has made good use of his time in the past 6 months and has not wasted anything. Apart from the regret of not being able to open the mysterious door, it is basically a complete success. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. On this day, Wu Yu relied on a large amount of Kanghai Yuankai pill to enter the 5th level of Zifa Kanghai realm. Half a year of boring hard work finally paid off. The UN power of Zi Mansion has been strengthened again. And on the basis of physical strength, for Wu Yu, the improvement of his realm is the icing on the cake. After reaching this state, his clones can also start to improve. Wu Yu now has enough Kanghai Yuankai pill, which Luo Ben got from the Ghost Emperor, but the problem is that with such a large amount of consumption, the 8 Hell Emperors all the property may not last long. After success, feel refreshed. Ming Long, can you tell me now what will happen to my 3rd magical power? After Wu Yu succeeded, he recovered a little and said excitedly. Ming Long curled his lips and said, it still doesn't work. Judging from the current situation, time is tight. Your original 2 magical powers are far from perfect, especially the Fiery Eye and Golden Eye. It is only the 2nd level and has little effect. The remaining half a year is very important to you. If you spend your time on new magical powers, it will be difficult for the new magical powers to achieve any results in just half a year. If you spend this time focusing on your eyes, at least in that battle after half a year, you will be more confident and make people look at you with admiration. After doing it for a long time, she had been fooling herself before. Wu Yu also worked hard for new magical powers. However, after thinking about it carefully, what she said still makes sense. Learning a new magical power is unlikely to produce very powerful results in half a year, but if Wu Yu puts his time into sharp eyes, if he reaches the third level, Guanri, that is undoubtedly a powerful means of killing. Pull through the sun is much scarier than refining the soul. In this way, Wu Yu could only put aside his desire for new magical powers and spend the rest of his time focusing on his fiery eyes. This was the most correct choice. As for the outlaw clones, Minglong said, to control 10,000 clones, you need a very strong spiritual power. At least your soul must become the soul and reach the realm of soul transformation. So for the time being, it is not possible. There may be progress. Therefore, the temporary breakthrough point, a kind of efficient killing, all depends on the sharp eyes. From the departure of soul refining, one can imagine the power of Guan Sun. You have made breakthrough progress in both the physical body and the Zifu Yuan power. The rest is the attack method. The magical power of fiery eyes and golden eyes is one link. As for Taoism, the two great gods are enough. The remaining Taoist tools, now, it's time for you to sacrifice the Heavenly Emperor's pagoda. Okay, you really think clearly, much better than me. That's right. It doesn't matter who my aunt is. I think back then, I don't know how many people fell under my aunt's group, Ming Long said with dignity. Just you. Did everyone in those days have pedophilia? Wu Yu couldn't help laughing. Your grandson is looking for death. Do you think Grandma and I were like this back then? How do you know how gorgeous I was back then? You have a naughty head, and your breasts are not as big as those of my aunt. Wu Yu was frightened. This Minglong really has no scruples in speaking. What, you don't accept it? When I come back to life, will I compete with you? Minglong crossed his arms and looked at him with contempt. No, I believe it. Anyway, you were the most beautiful woman in the world that year, right? Wu Yu said. That's right, the women you meet, including that dragon, are not as beautiful as a hair of mine, Ming Tong said proudly. Wu Yuki didn't believe it. Maybe she's always been a brat and now she's bragging. Laughing and cursing. However, Wu Yu was still determined to do two things in the remaining 6 months. 1. Guanri. 2. The pagoda of the Emperor of Heaven. The Taoist armor given to me by the city lord has been destroyed. The Emperor's pagoda must play its role well and be protected. Otherwise, I will be sorry for him. Wu Yu promised to return it to Yanhuang Emperor City in the future. Recently, it has actually been possible to refine the Heavenly Emperor's pagoda. Unfortunately, there has been no time. With Wu Yu's current level, controlling the Heavenly Emperor's pagoda is not a problem at all. As for the third level of fiery eyes and golden eyes, in fact, this is an excellent environment in the time control tower. Because, this third level of sun penetration requires a scorching sun in order to practice and perform it. This is a huge limitation, but there are limitations, which also shows that when it is performed, it is extremely powerful. In the Tower of Time Control, right in the middle of the head, there was the scorching sun from the Sea of Clouds, which was shining directly on Wu Yu's body and eyes. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 584. In the sky, the rays of the scorching sun fell on the white clouds, causing the white clouds to shine with dazzling light. The Sea of Clouds either condenses or dissipates, and the changes are endless. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. Standing under the scorching sun and above the Sea of Clouds, I feel that the blue sky and white clouds are bright and endless. In the thick white clouds and mist, no matter whether you go up or down, you will eventually reach the same place, which is above the white clouds and under the scorching sun. Young geniuses from the world of Jambu are scattered all over the clouds. However, somewhere in Bayun, more than 30 people gathered. In front of where these people gathered, there was a snow-white ancient pagoda. The ancient pagoda exuded the atmosphere of eternity. Every relief and the bells around seemed to come from ancient times. Boys and girls gathered here, all with solemn expressions. They stared at the white ancient tower, their eyes filled with deep reluctance, irritability, and arrogance. To them, there is a bold and incredible person in the world inside the tower. The time is coming. Although the appearance of this small white tower is different from the ancient Tower of Time, there is probably not much difference inside. It has been nearly 10 days since he entered, and there is almost a quarter of an hour left, which is the time he entered 10 days ago. There was a woman in the crowd, with black hair and golden eyes. She was dignified and noble. Her eyes were silent and cold when she spoke. Especially when she mentioned him, she, who had always been proud, couldn't help but get aggravated. Tone. She is the daughter of the head of a palace in the ancient Yanhuang kingdom. Her name is Zhang Kaijun, and her title is Princess Jinluan. Everyone else was nodding. Almost most of the people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom have gathered here at this time. Among them, a handsome and noble young man beside Zhang Kaijun nodded and said, "When the time comes, this door will definitely open. When the time comes, Emperor will go in personally. Even if Wu Yu has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will not be able to escape from the Taku Immortal Road. Moreover, he made such a big mistake, no matter whether the story about the heaven-devouring demon ancestor is true or not, he must be punished. It is really outrageous that people from a small border town who came from the demon-sealing continent dare to play tricks on us. I know the sky is high and the earth is high. If you don't give him a clue, he won't know the gap between him and us." Everyone was booing and talking, but soon a man who looked more powerful and had a higher status than Zhang Kaijun said, "Shut up, everyone. As the 72 Emperor's son, it's not your turn to say what he wants to do with Wu Yu, the son of the ancient emperor." When this person spoke, everyone shut up. They thought that they might have said a few more words because of their anger. It would be bad if they offended the emperor. At this time, everyone lowered their heads slightly, but their gazes were actually directed at the same person, with deep awe in their eyes. /U0001. Indeed, it's really embarrassing for you to even have the ancient crystal stone that you got stolen by someone from a small border town, and you still want me to clean up this mess. At this time, the young man who was being watched by everyone spoke. Listening to this, he might not have been there when they besieged the fire source Crystal Beast King. When he said it was embarrassing, everyone had no objection. The ancient crystal stone is of no use to me, but I must see this person named Wu Yu. Of course, I will take out the things he stole and return them to you. This person is still very prominent among the group of genius monsters in Yanhuang ancient kingdom. If the people around him are as brilliant as gold, then he is the diamond among them. No matter in any aspect, temperament, realm, majesty, as well as the innate domineering and bloodline, he must be superior to everyone. This young man was wearing a light golden robe, with many magic circles drawn on it, shining with golden light, as if there were many golden dragons swimming around on the robe. His black hair was like a waterfall, as long as his waist. It rolled in the clouds and mist, and there was a faint roaring sound. Looking at his eyes, they are also pure gold, and much purer than Zhang Kaijun's gold. The most conspicuous thing is that there is a golden symbol the size of a finger on his forehead. The symbol is very ancient and is a character. If you look closely, you will see that the golden character is an ancient character. This word is rarely used today. The reason why this person is called is obviously related to the symbol. In fact, this is the true symbol of having the blood of the ancient emperor. Time gradually passed, and the emperor also stood in front of the white ancient pagoda. He decided to go in on his own. Seeing that the time was coming, Zhang Kaijun suddenly asked sincerely, "Your Majesty, Wu Yu and I have some grudges. I was once teased by him, and it's hard to swallow this. I wonder if the Emperor can give me this opportunity. I promise not to let him leave Taku Immortal Road, and let him hand over the ancient crystal stone." She thought a lot before saying it, because she had this desire. To be honest, whenever she thought of Wu Yu, she felt so angry. They even used the ancient emperor's demon sword talisman. Princess Xuanhuan, no, the emperor turned his head to look at her and smiled slightly. However, this smile was so captivating that Zhang Kaijun quickly closed his mouth, nodded, and said nothing more. Because she knew that since Emperor Yu responded so directly, there was absolutely no room for negotiation. The heaven-swallowing demon ancestor is not a trivial matter. I need to use secret methods to pry into his memory and understand his life experience. After what I see and hear, I will know whether it is true or false, Emperor Yu said calmly. The emperor is wise. Everyone couldn't help but admire. After all, they had also heard of this method of snooping into memories and obtaining life experiences. They just didn't expect that the emperor's son, who was so young and one of the youngest emperor's sons, actually had such a method. This chapter is not over yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content below. Then, they waited for time to pass. Wu Yu, it's a good thing that you hid in this ancient tower. You were safe in it for a few dozen days, but now, you have become a turtle in a jar. Zhang Kaijun couldn't help but sneer. While everyone was waiting, Wu Yu, at a certain moment, on the time-control tower, the ancient tower changed repeatedly, reorganized like a machine, and finally changed into a door. Emperor Le flashed into it in an instant and disappeared. Everyone couldn't help but smile and wait. They knew that when Emperor Le verified the authenticity of the devouring demon ancestor's matter, Wu Yu would be worthless. After that, Emperor Le would definitely hand Wu Yu over to them. Another half a year has passed. After careful calculation, these 500 days don't seem to be long, but Wu Yu's gains are unprecedentedly huge. Even so huge that it is unimaginable. Not to mention the improvement of the Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body and realm. After half a year of thinking, the magical power of the fire eyes and golden pupils has finally made progress. From the second level of soul refining to the third level of penetrating the sun. In fact, the unique environment of the time control tower is also the reason why Wu Yu has made progress in this regard. If this place has nothing to do with the sun in the sky, Wu Yu can't practice penetrating the sun. The third level of penetrating the sun is when the fire eyes and golden pupils really have explosive power and destructive power. The sun must rely on the sun, which is a huge limitation, but it is precisely because of this that once you have the sun, its power is simply terrible. At this time, Wu Yu is ready for everything. He knows that the door here will open at that position, and he stands on the side of this position. No matter who it is, as long as they come in, they will be greeted by the blow that Wu Yu has prepared. Wu Yu remembered that he came in at the moment 500 days ago. Converting this time into 500 days, he would be standing here about half a quarter of an hour before the end of the 500 days. Half a quarter of an hour later, a door would open here and a person would come in. Wu Yu's goal was to attack him, force him away, and then leave here at lightning speed. After all, as long as he forced the other party away, he could leave easily. He had studied Guan Ri for such a long time just for this moment. The time was almost up. He raised his head and stared at the scorching sun in the sky. In an instant, there were ancient and mysterious golden symbols changing in his eyes. For a moment, the scorching sun in the sky seemed to be attracted. A dazzling golden flame beam, at a terrifying speed, seemed to be close at hand, instantly penetrated the top of the tower and shot into Wu Yu's eyes. The golden beam penetrated in. At that moment, Wu Yu's eyes became a place to store the true fire of the sun. The beam of light from the sun gathered in his eyes continuously and violently. As time passed, the terrifying energy gathered in them became more and more. At this time, his eyes had definitely turned into two golden, flaming suns. The whites of his eyes, pupils, and bloodshot eyes were no longer visible. There was only the burning golden flames and the terrifying, exploding heat. Boom, boom, boom. Even in these eyes, because too much power was gathered, they were still making a roaring sound. A pair of eyes made the white tower even brighter. However, this did not stop. The terrifying golden beam of light was still pouring into his eyes. This is the fire eye, this is the sun. The roaring sound and shining light, not only his eyes, but Wu Yu's entire head was now shrouded in golden flames. Enough, Wu Yu, don't absorb too much power for the first time, Ming Long reminded. However, Wu Yu did not stop. This is how the sun-piercing movement works. The longer the time, the more sun-true fire will continue, and the power that will burst out in the end will be the most terrifying. He continued until he felt that if he continued, his eyes would explode, and then he stopped. And this time was when the door opened. If the man came in slowly, it would not be a good thing for Wu Yu. Fortunately, as soon as the door opened, a figure appeared. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 585. When people came from the Tower of Time Control, it was when Wu Yu's eyes contained the true fire of the sun, which had been accumulated to the extreme. This magical power can activate the fire of the sun. Now, I don't know how many raging flames are squeezing Wu Yu's eyes. He didn't stop even when Ming Tong asked him to stop. At this time, the terrifying explosive power and self-damage are actually only for a moment. The blazing eyes are all based on a pair of eyes. If the limit is exceeded, these eyes will probably be destroyed. Fortunately, someone came in. This is the moment you have been waiting for. The figure had just come in and was not familiar with the situation inside. Wu Yu was standing beside and behind him. Of course, he immediately let the magical power of fire eyes and golden eyes explode. In his eyes, accumulated to the extreme, trembling, roaring with rage, countless real sun fires were compressed to the extreme, and burst out at this moment, forming a deep golden fire pillar. That's the speed of light, and the distance is less than 1 foot. Almost at the moment when the figure came in, Wu Yu prepared a long-awaited blow, and the dark golden flame beam directly hit the figure. This person was directly swallowed up by Wu Yu's power of penetrating the sun. Ming Taki said that the reason why it was named Guanri was because the fiery golden eyes could pierce the sun after absorbing the fire of the sun and then bursting out. The rainbow shines through the sun. Boom. After hitting his opponent, Wu Yu had no time to see who he was and what his condition was now. He only knew that this thunderous sunburst indeed knocked the opponent away. As for whether it killed him or injured him, he didn't know. With a startling glance, he could barely see the person's appearance. It was very blurry, except for what seemed to be a text between his eyebrows, which was very dazzling. However, Wu Yu didn't see clearly what the word was. He could vaguely feel that the person who came in was definitely something special. However, after the change of time, when the man first came in and came to Wu Yu 50 times later, he felt a little uncomfortable for a while. While his own speed was still adjusting, he was directly hit by Wu Yu. Walk. Without saying a word, Wu Yu burst out with the power of the sun in his eyes. After his eyes returned to clarity, he immediately rushed to the door that had just been opened and rushed in. He still doesn't know what level of power Guanri possesses. However, at least that person was completely surrounded by flames at the moment, and was knocked more than 10 feet away. He hit the wall of the time-controlling tower. One shoulder could be vaguely seen, and it seemed that Wu Yu's blazing golden eyes were blasted to pieces. This person should be very strong. It seems that I have never seen him before. /U0026 hashtag The step is no longer easy. Even if he didn't kill or force the opponent out of the Taku Immortal Road, Wu Yu felt quite satisfied. But at this time, the golden flames on his body exploded instantly, and the man's aura was terrifying. Before Wu Yu left, he deeply felt the terror of this man. He never expected that the person who came in was stronger than he imagined. He opened an arm, like the palm of heaven, and grabbed it towards Wu Yu. At the same time, his eyes were extremely cold and silent. He didn't know where he grew up. At such a young age, he had such an emperor. The majesty of the emperor. However, it was too late. Wu Yu was one step ahead, relying on Guan Raihe's surprise and his positioning. Just as the opponent was about to catch him, Wu Yu completely rushed out of the time control tower. The moment Wu Yu disappeared, the door suddenly closed, as if it had never appeared before. The emperor's son was left in a daze in this empty time-controlling tower. Such a person and this kind of thing are really unprecedented. Haha. Even I dare to play with it, so that's fun. Wu Yu had no idea who this person was and what his expression would be at this time. Because what he faced was actually a new level of crisis. The main thing Wu Yu relied on to get out of trouble this time was surprise. After the figure entered, he never expected that Wu Yu had already been hiding there to attack him. When he took the opportunity to come out, no one outside thought that Wu Yu would appear from here at this time. To be honest, the time after Emperor Yu entered was still 50 times as long as that of Wu Yu, so to outsiders, it was basically the moment after Emperor entered, when Wu Yu's back legs disappeared. Then he rushed out suddenly. At this time, Wu Yu also expected how they would react if there were people outside, so the moment he came out, he surrounded himself with flames to block everyone's sight. In this way, everyone will think that he is the person who just entered and was just ejected. Normally, they wouldn't believe that Wu Yu could come out in this way after the emperor entered. So although there were more than 30 people watching, no one could have imagined that the one coming out at this moment would be Wu Yu. Roll. At this time, Wu Yu suddenly appeared. Right in front of him, there happened to be Zhang Kaijun. At this time, Zhang Kaijun was asking the emperor to go in, but was refused. When she was a little depressed, Wu Yu rushed out with the vast sea Tyrannosaurus pillar in his hand. Hit Zhang Kaijun in the head. Violence. Nowadays, the Dragon King Buddha has an indestructible body, and coupled with the violent technique, his physical body has instantly reached a level that is unbelievable to the entire Jambu world. That stick was fierce and cruel. Zhang Kaijun was so stunned that he almost got hit on the head by Wu Yu. But even when she discovered that it was the vast sea Tyrannosaurus pillar, thinking that it was Wu Yu, she subconsciously used her arms to block it. The terrifying power of Wu Yu's stick directly broke his arm. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. With 2 clicks, the arms broke and folded into ugly shapes. Wu Yu, Zhang Kaijun screamed in pain. This angry and frightening roar brought about an even more unimaginable commotion. But in fact, everyone was so surprised. This kind of surprise, which was completely unimaginable, came so suddenly that they were stunned for a moment. Some people are even thinking, are you kidding, this could be Wu Yu? What they thought was that it might be a puppet related to the Tower of Time. At first, they thought it was the Emperor's son. At this moment, it was obvious that Emperor Yu would not attack Zhang Kaijun like this. However, through the flames, they clearly saw that this was the appearance of Wu Yu who had stolen their ancient fire source stone. This is what makes people unbelievable. Their minds are completely blank now. How did Wu Yu escape? Even if there was only a blank moment, Wu Yu broke out of the siege by defeating Zhang Kaijun. The next moment, the Taoist weapon was put away, and countless clones suddenly burst out. Hundreds and thousands of Wu Yu suddenly moved in all directions. Its body is hidden in the middle. I'm sorry, I still came out. There is something I need to explain to you. The ancient fire source crystal stone has been used by me. If you don't believe it, You will know by looking at my progress during this period. Goodbye. This is what all the clones said at the same time. Wu Yu's stick was able to injure Zhang Kaijun just now, which invisibly showed his progress. He believed that if these people calmed down and thought carefully, they would figure it out. After saying that, of course, he ran at full speed and launched the divine movement technique. Nowadays, it was different from the past. The improvement of Zifu's energy and physical body allowed him to perform the divine movement technique at a terrifying speed, at least as fast as Zhang Qi's. It is impossible for someone like you to catch up with Wu Yu again. Moreover, he has many clones to interfere. This time, Wu Yu was ready to spread the clones among all the clouds again. So, now they are running around, and it seems like thousands of people are running away at the same time. As Wu Yu's realm improved, his clones also improved, becoming faster. In such a chaotic situation, the super geniuses of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom stopped chasing after only a few steps. Wu Yu was running away from front to back and left to right. However, he is obviously stronger, and even his clones are faster. Even if he pursues him hard at this time, it is unlikely that he will find Wu Yu. After all, this endless cloud and mist also has the effect of blocking the line of sight. It is no longer as clear as before. Just now, that was Wu Yu. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. They felt even more incredible when they saw Zhang Kaijun's face was pale and he was correcting his arm to heal his injury. It should be him. With so many clones, he is the only one with such means. But, didn't Emperor Kaoru go in and kill him? How could he come out? Emperor Kaoru didn't come out. Could it be that this white tower doesn't need to be used? The latter challenge. Just as the words fell, the white ancient pagoda they surrounded suddenly disappeared in front of their eyes, silently. Gone. Everyone was even more shocked. At this time, they were completely unaware of everything that happened. Everyone stood like a fool. Wu Yu still had a clone that hadn't escaped, and at this time he also saw the white ancient pagoda disappear. No wonder it hasn't been found before. It probably changes location every once in a while. This is his guess. His true body is actually far away. But even at this time, the geniuses of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom still gathered together. Emperor Yu went in and Wu Yu came out. He also said that the ancient crystal stone had been used by him. What should we do? Don't listen to his bragging. How could he use ancient crystals, and there are so many ancient crystals? However, it seems that his strength has improved just now, reaching the 5th level of Zifu Kanghai realm. He is really in this realm. How can he be so strong in this realm and be able to hurt Zhang Kaijun? Moreover, Guangshai Duo is how could he reach a new level in just one day? Everyone looked at Zhang Kaijun. They knew what level Zhang Kaijun was, so when they took a closer look, it was even more incredible. Although it was unexpected, Zhang Kaijun's injury was indeed serious. It's interesting to discuss here. It's better to find him and take back the ancient crystal stone. Today, all of us in the Yanhuang ancient kingdom have been humiliated by him. Don't you think that this person can no longer be forgiven? Zhang Kaijun's eyes were serious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 586. In front of everyone, he was almost hit on the head by Wu Yu, who suddenly appeared, and his arms were directly broken under his huge force. For Zhang Kaijun, this almost angered him and he could not tolerate it at all. In this current situation, I am like a joke. The key is that Wu Yu's stick was really amazing. Zhang Kaijun is still more than half shocked. She really can't understand how Wu Yu could have made such great progress in just over 10 days. How could a young man with such power appear in the 5th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm in a mere wilderness, The demon sealing continent. There is definitely something wrong with this person. There must be a secret in him. If I can get this secret, then I might be able to do the same as him. In addition, Zhang Kaijun estimated that there should be many people who hold the same idea as her. Wu Yu suddenly got rid of Li Daizi and injured Zhang Kaijun. There is such a huge difference between them that anyone would think too much. When hearing the details of Wu Yu, even Li Daizi had to personally spy on Wu Yu's memory. You are a fool who has attracted our attention. Even if you escape back to Dongsheng Shenzhou, can you escape from the entire world of Yanfu? Staring at the direction where Wu Yu left, Zhang Kaijun had a sinister smile on his face. Kill all his clones, and his real body will have nowhere to escape. Let's look for him everywhere first. We must scare him. It's best to catch him before Emperor Li comes out, otherwise, it will be too embarrassing. This guy has made our entire Yanhuang country lose face. The time control tower disappeared, and they also dispersed and looked for Wu Yu everywhere. They were really embarrassed to let Wu Yu escape this time. Not long after, Wu Yu was completely safe. His clones were also scattered in the blue sky and white clouds, and their number far exceeded the number of people here, so Wu Yu had to. It is much easier to meet your own clone here than to meet other people. He discussed with Ming Long again. In fact, for you, the biggest treasure of this place is not the magic array brought by these mechanical beasts and puppets, but the Tower of Time Control. It can bring you what you lack most, that is, time. All your thoughts here should be to enter the Tower of Time Control again. Ming Long pretended to be deep and said earnestly. Someone has gone in, how can I go in? Moreover, judging from the strength of that person, he must be a big shot, Wu Yu asked. Of course he wanted to continue to go in, maybe he could challenge 60 times the time this time. 10 days outside, 600 days inside, this is nearly 2 years. Basically equivalent to getting 2 years for nothing. This is the difference between him and others, others are not as short of time as he is. Ming Long rolled his eyes and said, you are stupid. Even if he goes in, he will only have 10 days. And he is not like you who can challenge 5 levels. The time gained is at most 10 times, which is of no use to him. I estimate that he should come out when the time is up, and the time control tower will also change its location at that time. She also made sense. But what if he is interested in the mysterious door and refuses to come out? Wu Yu asked. Ming Long paused and said, then I can't do anything. This person is more powerful than you, and you are far from challenging him. If he refuses to come out, no matter how many clones you have to find the time control tower, it will be useless. Wu Yu thought about it and said, in fact, I think the rules of the time control tower may not be the same as other ancient time towers. In other ancient time towers, except for the first one to challenge the puppet, the next one is to challenge the previous person. And the time control tower needs to challenge the puppet to determine the time. So when the time is up, he has to come out regardless of whether there is anyone in. The time control tower should not allow a person to stay indefinitely, right? You have a point in thinking so, but before seeing it with your own eyes, it's all just guessing. You'll see what it is like in 10 days. That's right. It's useless to guess now, just wait for these 10 days. 10 days passed in a flash. Wu Yu was lurking in the mist, and his clones were looking for the location of the time control tower. He had many eyes and ears, and the efficiency of one person looking for things was better than that of hundreds of other people combined, so this time, he was the first to find the time control tower. Because the person should be inside, Wu Yu did not approach. He left a clone here, mainly to see if the person would come out when the time came. Wu Yu had inquired these days that the person who entered the time control tower and was ambushed by it before was named Li Dzi. It is said that this is the son of the most powerful, terrifying, and ancient emperor of the ancient country of Yanhuang, and his title seems to be Yanhuang Ancient Emperor. This is a name that no one dares to mention. This ancient Emperor Yanhuang lived a long time ago and had countless descendants. It seems that he has several generations of great-grandchildren, but sons are constantly being born. Emperor Yu is his 72nd son. Under Emperor Yu, there are more than 20 younger brothers, the youngest of whom is only a few months old. Obviously, so many descendants are not born by one woman. As for why this ancient Emperor Yanhuang does not have just one Taoist partner, but has so many women, Minglong explained that the emperors of the ancient country Yanhuang have always gone against the rules of the immortal couples in the cultivation world. This is one of the few people in the world who has 3,000 beauties in the harem, all of whom are top cultivators, and the number is even far more than 3,000. This is almost the same as the emperors in the human world. Sure enough, a country is a country, even in the immortal cultivating dynasty, the systems are so similar. If Wu Yu had become emperor, he would have created a queen immediately, and then enriched the harem until the 3 palaces and 6 courtyards were full, which would have been hundreds of women at least. Although Emperor Yu is only one of his nearly 100 sons, under the age of 50, he is indeed one of the best, even surpassing some of his elder brothers. His current level is at the 6th level of the soul transformation realm. When Wu Yu heard this, he was shocked. The emperor's son was the emperor's son. At such a young age, he was actually much more powerful than the Holy Lord Taixu and the Lord Yanhuang city. His Guan Ri was able to succeed. First, he was lucky, second, he made good use of the environment, and third, Guan Ri was really powerful. If one of these 3 was missing, Wu Yu would not be able to stand here now. In this realm, he is directly more than 10 levels higher than Wu Yu, but the age difference is not much. Moreover, the emperor's son is not considered to be one of the strongest people under the age of 50 in the entire Jambu world. Moreover, there are countless geniuses and demons in the Jambu world, and they may not necessarily come to the Teiku Immortal Road. At least the emperor knows about the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. If he informs the royal family of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom after he leaves, someone will always take it seriously. But, is the fire source ancient crystal stone so valuable? Let the emperor and his son come in and snatch it away. This is a bit beyond Wu Yu's imagination. There aren't many ancient crystals left now, so there's nothing we can do. He waited for 10 days to pass. If the clone encounters a mechanism beast, it is basically impossible to defeat it alone. But if the main body encounters it, Wu Yu will basically try his best to defeat it. In 10 days, he has collected a total of 3 mechanisms. The creation of the magic circle of the beast can also be regarded as a gain. In fact, except for the people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom who were chasing Wu Yu, most of the others were hunting machine beasts. No one even entered the ordinary ancient Tower of Time. For them, being trapped in one place was a waste of time. During this period, Wu Yu also met many people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. Of course, they were basically encountered by their clones. After the encounter, the other party intercepted and killed them without saying a word. Unfortunately, they could only destroy Wu Yu's clones. As for those intimidations and threats, they really have no meaning. On this day, his clone also met Lan Tianyu. Lan Tianyu was alone. When he saw Wu Yu's clone, he thought it was his true body, so he came forward excitedly, hugged Wu Yu heavily, and then looked at Wu Yu with wide eyes. Said, "Brother, this is really amazing. I finally met you. I didn't expect that you can still stay in this Teiku Immortal Road after making such a big noise. I really admire you. Thank you for what happened to the heaven-devouring demon ancestor earlier," Wu Yu said solemnly. In fact, it was the appearance of Lanshan Jade that gave him the courage to snatch the ancient fire source stone. I don't know much about this matter. In the end, I still rely on you. By the way, these days, I have seen people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom looking for you crazily. It is said that Zhang Kaijun wants to kill you, and even if you leave, on the Taku Immortal Road, they will all go to Dongsheng Shenzhou. Brother, if you don't listen to my advice, return the fire source ancient crystal stone to them. If this continues, it will be really bad for you. Wu Yu shook his head and smiled. It's too late. Firstly, I have already used the ancient crystal stone. Secondly, even if I return it to them, they will teach me a lesson. Don't worry, I also have some confidence, and I will be with them. The stalemate continues. Although he was not sure, at least, after talking about the matter of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor, he no longer had any worries, and now he could do whatever he wanted. I admire you. I admire you. You are truly a god in this world. If you come to Yanhuang ancient territory in the future, remember to come to my Blue Wing Storm Valley as a guest. I will treat you with all my heart. Lan Tianyu no longer hesitated, but chose to believe Wu Yu. He chatted with Wu Yu in detail, and later on, he said that he was looking for the ancient water crystal stone left by the water source crystal beast king. Only then did Wu Yu know that the whereabouts of the ancient water source crystal stone were still unknown. Actually, it's not that its whereabouts are unknown. It's probably just someone who got it secretly. Judging from your situation, no one dares to announce that they have obtained a valuable treasure. If someone really gets it, then that person is really lucky. Of course, it is also possible that this ancient water source crystal stone is still wandering in the white clouds. I won't disturb you anymore. I'm going to go my own way too. Goodbye. Lan Tianyu was very enthusiastic and came to hug her again. At this moment, a person suddenly appeared in front of them. Wu Yu saw that he was from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. He had a slight impression. This person was unusually tall, with messy golden hair. His body was like a wild beast, and he was extremely ferocious. His eyes were glaring. Looking at Wu Yu and Lan Tianyu, he suddenly laughed deeply. His voice was very rough, and said, I know, you are just your clone, but you seem to be quite close. Then I will tell you, I am here. If you don't come back, I'll kill him. What he meant by him was Lanshan Jade. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 587. In this ancient immortal road, Lan Tianyu is Wu Yu's only friend. He was the only one who was willing to help Wu Yu from the beginning. At that time, Wu Yu didn't show any tricks. He was purely kind and hospitable. It doesn't matter to him who is threatened in this Taku Immortal Road, but the people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom in front of him do understand correctly. Wu Yu talks about loyalty, and Lan Tianyu calls him a brother. Although the friendship is not deep, Wu Yu's principles, at least you can't hurt people who are good to you. Therefore, his true body has already rushed here quickly. Of course, the purpose of this blonde brawny man is also to elicit his true form. I believe that by this time, he had also informed others. Next, it's just a matter of seeing who is faster. Race against time. As for the clones, of course they can delay time if they can. The man in front of him has a rough look. His eyes and movements are like those of a ferocious beast, and there are scars on his face that are as conspicuous as poisonous insects. His aura is as powerful as a mountain. Not only the Zifu Yuan power, but also the spiritual methods are also extremely strong. Obviously it is the existence of the spiritual form. Although not as good as Zhang Kaijun, he should at least be on par with Qiang Sword Immortal and the others. Although he is nothing in the camp of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, he is already a powerful force in the Dongsheng divine continent. Facing a strong man who has transformed into a spiritual form, Wu Yu is not even sure of his true form. Before, he might not be able to compete even at the 10th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm. Although this time he has made great progress, he has never tried it, and he doesn't know what the gap is between himself and the soul transformation realm. Who are you? I won't fight against an unknown person. Wu Yu used his avatar to create a mystery and blocked Lan Tianyu's eyes. Gong Shuhori smiled and said, "Don't fool me, you must be a clone. You have so many clones, I don't believe that the one I just met is your true body. Hurry up and let your true body come over, I'm going to take action." Lan Tianyu was stunned and said, "Gong Shuhori, I didn't provoke you, but you used my life to deal with him. This is a bit despicable and inappropriate." The strong man named Gong Shuhori grinned and said, "Who do you think you are? Blue Wing Storm Valley, you are not a small force that relies on our Yanhuang ancient kingdom to survive. It is your honor to play such a big role. Kill you, your father can only be a grandson in front of me." "That's too much." Lan Tianyu's face suddenly turned pale and he was trembling with anger. "Wu Yu, this person's name is Gong Shuhori. He is a member of the Jingkui mansion in the ancient Yanhuang kingdom. His father is the Dongyuan general of the Jingkui mansion. He is a man of great virtue and prestige. He is a powerful man. Jinluan County. The father of the master Zhang Kaijun is the master of Jingkui mansion /U0026 #. Yes, it is much more stable and updated faster than ordinary novel websites, and there is no GG in the whole text." Lan Tianyu quickly introduced it to Wu Yu. Its strength is the first level in the Yuan Shen transformation realm. It turned out to be Zhang Kaijun's friend. In other words, this Gong Shuhori followed Jingkuifu just like his father. The palace masters of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom are all the overlords of the Yanfu world. The first level, Wu Yu, who was approaching with the magic technique at full speed, took a deep breath. He didn't expect that he would challenge a cultivator in the realm of Yuan Shen so soon. Regardless of how young Gong Shuhori is, actually fighting him is probably equivalent to challenging Qiang's sword Immortal, or even stronger. Moreover, Gong Shuhori has already summoned other people, and this time they go to Lanshan Yu's place, which is very dangerous. However, it is his principle not to harm his friends, and he will never back down in the slightest. "Shut up, you can talk so much nonsense," Gong Shuhori roared in a low voice, and the pressure of the Yuan Shen realm acted on Lan Tianyu, suppressing Lan Tianyu immediately and making him speechless. The reason why he didn't attack directly was to restrain Lanshan Jade so that he could wait for Wu Yu's body to come over. If he killed him directly, Wu Yu might not come. However, Lan Tianyu suddenly smiled and said, "Do you think you can play with me in the middle of applause?" Then he turned to Wu Yu and smiled, "This trip to the ancient Immortal Road, it is already worth getting to know you. I will spread the word about the heavenly demon ancestor immediately after I leave." Wu Yu was shocked. He and Na Gong Shuhori both knew what Lan Tianyu was going to do at this moment, but it was already too late. Lan Tianyu directly crushed the ancient immortal talisman and disappeared in front of the two of them in the blink of an eye. None of them expected that Lan Tianyu would leave so simply. In fact, everyone knows that Gong Shuhori's talk of beheading was just to force Wu Yu's body to come and scare Wu Yu. He did not really want to kill Lanshan Jade. After all, his purpose was not Lanshan Jade. If you kill him rashly, he will be punished after he goes out. Lan Tianyu probably knew it well, but in order not to affect Wu Yu, he simply left. With this departure, Gong Shuhori would no longer be able to threaten Wu Yu. However, Wu Yu still felt that he owed him. If it weren't for him, he might have gained something else in the Teiku Immortal Road. Seeing Lan Tianyu leave, Gong Shuhori was stunned for a while, then became furious and suddenly punched Wu Yu's clone to pieces. "Damn it! Lan Tianyu, after you get out, I won't be done with you." Both of them knew that Gong Shuhori was just to deal with Wu Yu, but Lan Tianyu just didn't give him face. He was convinced that Wu Yu's real body would not come back again, so he quickly sent out many original and tail talismans to inform others of the current situation, so as to avoid having to blame himself after others arrived and failed. Especially Princess Jinluan. "Okay now, when the princess arrives, she will definitely scold me. I don't know how long she will ignore me. Damn Lan Tianyu, damn Wu Yu." This chapter is not finished yet, Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. He had a bad temper, and now he punched his chest to vent his anger. At this moment, he never expected that there would be a terrifying force coming from behind him. He turned around suddenly and saw a golden figure suddenly impacting in front of him, holding a long stick in his hand. When it was pierced, Xuanhuan was taken aback. At the critical moment, he used his Dao weapon to block the opponent's stick. However, the overbearing power still knocked him away. His arms were numb and his blood was boiling. Wu Yu, Xuanhuan couldn't believe his eyes. Judging from the strength just now, the Wu Yu holding the Taoist weapon in front of him was definitely his true form. Lan Tianyu is gone, what else will he do? Xuanhuan didn't expect it at all. He had just sent out the original talisman. At this time, there was no time to send out the original talisman again. Wu Yu had already continued the attack. In fact, when Lan Tianyu left, Wu Yu was already nearby, just barely. There was no need for him to show up, but he couldn't swallow this breath. Lan Tianyu was forced to leave. Thanks to him for looking up to me, I can't let him leave for nothing. This Xuanhuan also needs to get out of here. I don't know how many people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom are out now. At least Wu Yu can send someone out to talk about the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. If there is a chance, he will even grab the ancient immortal talisman. Xuanhuan looks down on him, so he still has a chance. At this time, he was holding the vast sea Tyrannosaurus pillar, his whole body had transformed into an immortal ape, and his body was as strong as Xuanhuan. With scarlet eyes and a violent face, the Dragon King Buddha is indestructible and looks even more violent. Although the Zi Mansion's UN power is not as good as the opponent, it has already suppressed the opponent in terms of momentum. Especially the indestructible body of the Dragon King Buddha. Within the body, tens of thousands of angry dragons roar. This is the most advanced body in the world. With such a confrontation, even Xuanhuan was slightly shocked by Wu Yu. That's weird. You still dare to show up? You're really out of your mind. You don't know how to write the word death. Xuanhuan gritted his teeth, but in fact he was ecstatic. The other party came to his door on his own initiative, and the opportunity to make a contribution came. The Central Heavenly Emperor's divine art. What responded to him was that when Wu Yu's body was already strong enough, he used the Central Heavenly Emperor's divine art. At this moment, his skin turned golden, and his entire body seemed to be cast in gold. Little skills. Outdated Taoist skills, Xuanhuan sneered. You think your body is enough? He opened his arms, and the crimson flame swept across his body, shining brightly on the world. At the core of the flames, his body seemed to have 9 scorching suns, arranged on his head, arms, feet, and torso. Sure enough, this Xuanhuan not only had the majestic Zifu Yuan Li, as well as a powerful physical body. The body of the 9 Yang giant sun. At this time, his body was invisible, bathed in blazing fire, but the 9 round scorching sun was shining in the white clouds, so dazzling and very attractive. Tai Flame God transformation. However, this is not the end. After it showed the body of the 9 Yang giant sun, there were new changes immediately. For a moment, an ancient and majestic voice echoed loudly in the white clouds. The body burned by the fire was gradually covered with strange armor condensed with magical powers. The armor was ancient and magical, constantly changing, and did not fit Xuanhuan's body, but it surrounded him, as if he had entered the body of some ancient powerful man. Wu Yu also noticed the Taoist weapon. Ming Long knew this Taoist weapon. She said, "This seems to be the golden Qianlong staff. It has a long history. In my time, this Jingxuanlong staff was in the hands of a certain person from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, is a nasty guy, and now it is probably passed down to his descendants." The Taoist weapon that Ming Long remembered was certainly not simple. At least not worse than the vast sea Tyrannosaurus pillar. The current Gongshuhori has indeed shown terrifying methods. Challenging him will undoubtedly challenge Wu Yu's limit. Superior. Once here, there is no way out. Only a tough battle. Ever since I met the super geniuses of Yanfa world, I haven't had such a fun battle for a long time. Wu Yu's endless fighting blood exploded fiercely. But Gongshuhori still despised him and sneered, a mere thing that grew up in a deserted demon-sealing continent has also fought against my Yanhuang orthodoxy. Today I will let you see what strength is. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 588. In fact, Wu Yu is very glad that he was born in Dongsheng Shenzhou, a mortal immortal.la. It is this kind of origin that allows him to see the world clearly at all levels. At the same time, he retains awe and curiosity about the endless world. Rather than pride and complacency, even arrogance, it is contempt for others. Only by keeping enough attention on yourself can you show a 100% state in the battle. Otherwise, any disordered positioning will disrupt your performance and give the opponent an opportunity to take advantage. For example, most of the super geniuses who know his identity or realm in the ancient immortal road that Wu Yu has seen are arrogant. For example, Prince Yun, Zhang Kaijun, and Gong Shibo in front of him. Gong Shibo's arrogance contains anger. If it is only in the natural world, he probably positions himself as a tiger, and Wu Yu is the bold and provocative goat in front of him, or even a rabbit. Kneel down and kowtow, Gong Shibo roared, holding the Taoist weapon Golden Qian Dragon Stick with the body of the Nine Suns and the Tai Flame Divine Transformation. With a mighty momentum, based on the power of the Yuan Shen transformation realm, the momentum was magnificent and the fighting spirit was overwhelming. When the Golden Qian Dragon Stick was swung, there was a rolling dragon roar, and the sound shook the four fields. Do Wu Yu was faster than him, penetrating the clouds, and in an instant, the Han-Hai Tyrannosaurus pillar in his hand collided fiercely with the opponent. Boom! Duel of two sticks. Gong Shibo is also good at direct confrontation, and he can kill opponents with absolute power. His Taoist magic skills are all similar. In the first head-on confrontation, he wanted to repel Wu Yu with a stick and severely injure him. What he never expected was that the Golden Qianlong stick and the Han-Hai Tyrannosaurus pillar blasted each other. Although the opponent did not resist his Purple Palace energy, for some reason, his strength was still terrifying. He used all his strength and exerted it, but he did not force Wu Yu back. Buzz! Only the four-sided clouds shook in all directions. Gong Shibori, are you a woman? Is that all you have? After using the Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body to support the opponent's attack head-on, Wu Yu smiled. He probably knew what level he was at. Not only did he not repel Wu Yu with one move, but he was also laughed at. This made Gong Shibori furious. He roared and confronted Wu Yu again. The two of them killed each other in the white clouds. Both sides used their own methods, various magical arts flew together, and there was a direct collision of the flesh. The Golden Fairy Ape and the opponent's Tai Yan Shenbian were very similar. In the deadly battle, there was no winner. I didn't expect that this indestructible body of Dragon King Buddha could actually allow me to deal with the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm. Wu Yu was extremely surprised. /U0026 #yes, it is much more stable and updated faster than ordinary novel websites, and it is full of text without GG. Great confidence returned to his body. Looking for death. Unable to defeat Wu Yu, Gong Shibo became more and more depressed and gradually lost his balance. Wu Yu's body was so strong that he was afraid. He knew that he could only suppress Wu Yu with the Purple Mansion Yuan Li, but his body itself was already very strong. It was hard to imagine how this young man from the wilderness could be so capable. The more they fought, the more shocked they were when they saw Wu Yu's endless tricks. Although he was in the upper hand, he found that even if his Jingxuan long stick dented Wu Yu's chest, the opponent was indifferent. The key was that the opponent recovered quickly from such injuries. Such an immortal body made Gong Shibori envious and panic. The more they fought, the more he wavered. He was arrogant, but from the beginning of the war to now, his arrogance has suffered an unprecedented blow. Impossible, impossible. Gong Shibori trembled inwardly. Thinking about it carefully, he was one of the geniuses of the ancient Yanhuan country, and this person, with the 5th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm, actually tied with him. What kind of concept is this? Wu Yu saw the panic in his eyes. In response, he could only sneer. He was waiting for this moment. The opportunity came. Killing the heart. To defeat a person, you must first defeat his heart. Gong Shibori's panic and shock after a long attack could not escape Wu Yu's eyes. At this moment, it was just an ordinary stick, but Wu Yu suddenly used violent techniques. For a moment, his already strong body instantly doubled, and the double force blasted down. This was a stick that even Zhang Kaijun had to break his hand. Wu Yu roared, broke through the clouds, and smashed down on his head, and Gong Shibo pulled up, trying to stop Wu Yu with the golden Qianlong stick. Bang! This time, the absolute advantage of power made Gong Shibo's arms burst into blood, and the golden Qianlong stick flew out of his hand and flew far away. Wu Yu happened to have a clone in that direction, so he didn't hesitate to hug the golden Qianlong stick first. Come back, Gong Shibo's heart was shaken, his face was panicked, he hurriedly summoned the golden Qianlong stick, and the golden Qianlong stick also burst out with power, trying to break free. In fact, the Taoist weapon wanted to break free, and Wu Yu's clone couldn't stop it at all. However, at this moment, Wu Yu first pulled away his Taoist weapon, and then sacrificed the Emperor of Heaven Pagoda. In the last 6 months of the Time Control Tower, he had completely mastered the Heavenly Emperor Pagoda, which was the most advanced Taoist weapon in Dongsheng Shenzhou. Indeed, its power was terrifying. On it, the main formation was the Heavenly Emperor's Arrival Formation. 2 major attack formations were used as auxiliary. One of them was, Martial Heavenly King Gai Formation. The Emperor's Pagoda suppressed him head-on. A being called Wu Tianwang merged into the pagoda, making the pagoda possess an extremely heavy force, like countless mountains gathered together. The second is, 9 Mysterious Purgatory Formation. This requires imprisoning the opponent in the Emperor's pagoda, and then launching this formation. For the enemy, the pagoda is the 9 Mysterious Purgatory. It can definitely be burned into dust. Among them are 9 kinds of disasters, which are bombarded and killed one after another. At this time, when Wu Yu was injuring the opponent, he took the opportunity to sacrifice the Emperor's pagoda. The Emperor's pagoda instantly became larger and appeared above Gong Shikui's head. This is a golden pagoda with many emperors' reliefs on it. It is majestic, especially when Wu Yu took action, those reliefs opened their eyes, as if emperors of all dynasties appeared. Wu Tianwang Gai Formation. Wu Yu instantly used all his strength to activate the formation. For a moment, the Emperor of Heaven's pagoda burst into a shining light. A figure could be vaguely seen in the tower. The figure was full of momentum and had a fighting spirit beyond imagination. This was a person born for battle. Such a wool appeared on the head, to a certain extent, gave Gong Shibori the pressure of a head-on blow. The Wu Tianwang Gai formation was running, and the Emperor of Heaven's pagoda spun wildly and suddenly fell down. It was unknown how much weight it carried, and it directly covered Gong Shibori's head. Gong Shibori suddenly punched out. This Taoist magic fist hit the bottom of the tower, and the effect was that his arm exploded directly into a bloody mist, and the Emperor of Heaven's pagoda still had enough power to smash down, almost making his head explode. This time, Gong Shibori was completely stunned. He was about to threaten, but Wu Yu was faster than him. After Wu Tianwang finished using the Gai formation, he immediately changed and directly activated the more terrifying 9 Profound Purgatory Formation. Of course, this was the method he wanted to use to deal with this person in the first place. At this moment, the emperor's pagoda became larger and thicker, and the bottom of the pagoda suddenly became hollow. This time, Gong Shibo was hit on the head and his head was bleeding. His vision was blurred. If it was normal, he might be able to dodge it, but it was completely impossible at this time. Wu Yu succeeded easily and trapped his opponent in the emperor's pagoda. 9. Profound Purgatory Formation. After the success, the heavenly emperor pagoda instantly became smaller and finally fell into Wu Yu's palm. Wu Yu dragged the heavenly emperor pagoda with his palm and used all his strength to operate the attack array. For a moment, the heavenly emperor pagoda became colorful. The 9 kinds of disaster power were trapping Gong Shibo in a closed space, burning and blowing mercilessly. Inside the heavenly emperor pagoda, Gong Shibo let out a sharp scream. Wu Yu, you dare to do this to me? If I have the chance, I will make you live a life worse than death. I will destroy your foundation in Dongsheng Shenzhou. Kill all your relatives. Wu Yu did not respond. If the other party did this, it could only be said that he did not conform to the rules of the cultivators. This was the method of ghost cultivation, not the method of a person who wanted to become an immortal. The ancient country of Yanhuang was so prosperous that it must have put morality first, so this was just Gong Shibori's threat to him. His current goal was to make Gong Shibori unconscious with the 9 profound purgatory formation, so that he could at least get an ancient immortal talisman first. He still wanted to go to the ancient domain of Yanhuang. Gong Shi breaking boundary fist. Unexpectedly, Gong Shibori still had some spare strength. In the heavenly emperor pagoda, he displayed the great magical power of his Gong Shi clan. The domineering fist force almost caused Wu Yu's heavenly emperor pagoda to explode. Fortunately, Wu Yu suppressed it with his will. Don't waste your time. Just have a good sleep. He mainly used the sleeping purgatory formation in the 9 profound purgatory formation. This formation can make the opponent fall asleep in the heavenly emperor pagoda and become completely unconscious, which makes it easier to kill him. Wu Yu did not want his life, but just wanted to get the ancient immortal talisman. This was his original purpose. Taking one down would be insurance. Perhaps because he felt drowsy, Gong Shibori was even more frightened. He roared and cursed madly in the heavenly emperor pagoda, cursing Wu Yu's ancestors. Wu Yu, I will remember you. There is a long time to come, and I, Gong Shibori, will definitely cut you into pieces to relieve the hatred in my heart. When he said this, he had already taken out the ancient immortal talisman. It seems that he is leaving, and now Wu Yu can't stop him. Goodbye, I won't see you off. He told Lanshan Yu to get out, and Wu Yu also told him to get out. Wu Yu could accept this result. The key is that defeating the first level of the Yuan Shen waxing realm gave Wu Yu great confidence. Gong Shibori reluctantly crushed the ancient fairy talisman and left here. The emperor's pagoda was empty. We have to leave quickly. Wu Yu knew that many people were coming here. There is still a harvest. Gong Shibori left, but the Jingxuan long stick was still in Wu Yu's hand. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 589. The golden Xian dragon stick is now an ownerless thing. It is too far away from its owner, and the connection between them has almost been cut off by the Teiku Immortal Road. Wu Yu was too lazy to worry about so much, so he put it away, immediately used the magic technique to leave the place, and also called in some clones to distract others. After all, with such a big battle, many people were already nearby, and he could only escape within a hair's breadth. As soon as Wu Yu left, a familiar person appeared nearby. It was Zhang Kaijun with a silent expression. Among the white clouds, This stunning woman in a golden robe had her long hair flying like a fairy. It really is a rhinoceros with sharp hair and white teeth, and a pair of moths with green eyebrows. A red face is like a blooming lotus, and a plain skin is like condensed fat. It's graceful, light, and not self-sustaining. Taste the unparalleled beauty, and rely on the allure of the city. Compared with other women Wu Yu had seen, Zhang Kaijun was born with imperial blood, majestic and domineering, which made her more aggressive. Whether it was her eyes or her will, she was a very difficult existence to conquer. Admittedly, Tang Tangjin Princess Luan was also from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, and countless people gathered around her, wanting to see her beauty, and even dreaming of kissing her. She didn't find Wu Yu, but she met Wu Yu's clone. Her eyes were full of disgust. In the past, she would be destroyed at the first sight, but this time she lost the news about Gongshu Hori. When she saw Wu Yu here, she could only suppress it. Xia was annoyed and asked, "Beast, where is Gongshu Hori?" When Wu Yu's clone saw her, he was not timid at all. He stood in the clouds and mist with his hands behind his back, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and said, "Beast, who are you talking about?" Zhang Kaijun said in a deep voice, "Of course I'm talking about you. The demon-sealed continent, a barbaric land, what's the difference between you and an animal?" "It turns out that the beast is talking about me." Wu Yu laughed dumbly. But what was depressing was that Zhang Kaijun was a little straight-headed and didn't understand Wu Yu's trap. She didn't react at all. Instead, she raised her voice and asked, "Let me ask you, where is Gongshu Hori?" Wu Yu waved his hand and said, "You're late. I tortured him. He couldn't stand it anymore, so he crushed the ancient immortal talisman and got out of here." Zhang Kaijun sneered, his red lips activated, and said, "You are just a waste and garbage in front of him, and you still want to defeat him, which is ridiculous. If you don't believe me, just ask him. Also, don't forget who broke these little hands of yours facing this person now. He has a lot more confidence. He no longer lets Princess Jinluan do that." Completely suppressed. Speaking of this, the anger in Zhang Kaijun's chest couldn't help but burst out. She stepped forward in the blink of an eye, pinched Wu Yu's clone's neck, dug her nails into its flesh, and said viciously, "You look very proud, don't you? You can do this in front of Wu Yu's clone. It's incredible to escape from the hands of the emperor. You probably didn't even think of it, so you feel so happy. Have you ever figured out what a ridiculous thing you have done? Do you know who you are fighting against? You are fighting against the entire Yanhuang ancient kingdom. This is a crime that will make you die a billion times. Who do you know? Wu Yu, you still dare to laugh? Do you know how miserable your future will be?" She spoke a lot in one breath, extremely excited, and the fire in her eyes burned Wu Yu's body. She pinched Wu Yu and got close to Wu Yu. Unfortunately, this was Wu Yu's clone, otherwise she would still be able to smell her fragrance. "I'm not stupid, so don't deceive me. The only person who hates me now is you. The others just want to get back the ancient crystal stone. Zhang Kaijun, you just have the boring self-esteem in your bones. You despise me, but it makes you grit your teeth, but you still can't do anything to me. This makes you feel unbearable, but in the end, I paid a price for the ancient crystal stone, and that's what I deserve. There is nothing wrong with me at all. Arrogance." Wu Yu finished his sentence with a smile on his face and calm composure. "Do you think you know me very well? You are right, I don't take you seriously, and your behavior does make me angry. However, one thing is absolute, that is, you do give me I'm not even worthy of carrying shoes. In the Yanhuang ancient country, I am the master of the vast land of Jingkui Mansion. I can cover the sky with one hand, but you are just the border of the demon-sealed continent. People. The people in that place are originally the criminals sent by the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. You are the descendant of the criminals. You can use some small tricks to tease me once you get out. I can make you die 10,000 times. You, a descendant of criminals from the demon-sealed continent, do you know what status is in the Yanhuang ancient territory? Zhang Kaijun's eyes pierced deeply into Wu Yu's, and her face almost touched them, bringing heavy pressure. Maybe what she said makes sense. After leaving the Teiku Immortal Road, the competition is not just about strength, but also power and status, background, and parents. But this was definitely not the reason for Wu Yu to bow to her. He waved his hand and said, "Okay, I admit that your family is awesome, but I'm sorry, I have already used the ancient crystal stone. I relied on the ancient crystal stone to defeat Gongshu Hori. To be honest, I advise you to die. It's impossible for you to get the ancient crystal stone. I think you should put your mind elsewhere. With so many gains from the Teiku Immortal Road, you are still looking at the ancient crystal stone. Are you a bit too generous? The ancient crystal stone is not the key. The key is that you snatched it away from us. What we lost was our face." Zhang Kaijun's voice was hoarse, and his veins popped out when he spoke. As a Taoist, there is no need to care about face. The Tao is the most important thing. Wu Yu knew what she was thinking, and she had her own reasons for it, but Wu Yu didn't agree. His understanding of Tao is very pure, but for Zhang Kaijun, it is obviously complicated. You are only at the 5th level of the Purple Mansion Kanghai realm, and you are talking about the Tao with me at the 3rd level of the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm? The Tao I have comprehended is thousands of times better than yours, so don't make a fool of yourself in front of me. Anyway, I tell you, you are dead. I don't care whether you can get the ancient crystal stone or not. You have offended me, and I only want your life. Use my life to make up for the face you have lost, haha. Wu Yu couldn't help laughing. You are looking for death. Not only me, you have offended Emperor Li. Emperor Li went in to find you, and you dared to escape. You have already made Emperor Li unhappy. In this world of Yanfu, you dare to offend Emperor Li, that is the most stupid thing. If I were you, I could arrange my funeral at this time, and I would still be wandering around the ancient immortal road. Ridiculous. The more Zhang Kaijun spoke, the more excited she became. She quarreled with Wu Yu, and every word Wu Yu said made it difficult for her to respond. Wu Yu didn't know about Li Daizi, but he knew that he was the most noble person in the ancient Yanhuang country, and his power was indeed great. You don't know what Li Daizi wants to do with you. He wants to use secret methods to spy on your memory and see all your experiences, from birth, bit by bit. In this way, he can confirm whether the things about devouring demon ancestor are true without going to the demon sealing continent. By then, you will have no value. Let me ask you, will Li Daizi still care about you, an ant in the wilderness? Speaking of this, she laughed, a little hysterical. Spy. The word made Wu Yu feel creepy. It turns out that I still think the whole world of cultivation is too simple. He underestimated these people and Li Daizi. Although he didn't know this person would appear, but spying, what did he think of himself? If he succeeded, then the immortal inheritance, the Ruyi Jinggu Bang, would all be exposed. Of course, he would know that the matter of devouring the sky demon ancestor was true, but the exposure of the inheritance of the Monkey King would definitely be fatal to him. Wu Yu believed that the people of the entire Yama world would go crazy because of the immortal inheritance. It's good that you know. Never underestimate others, especially in the Yanhuang ancient domain. Don't forget how I died in the beginning, because I was besieged by this group of people. Why? Because of the inheritance on me. Wu Yu felt a little frightened. This is the fear of the aftermath. If, at that time, I hadn't practiced Guanri first and was not prepared, when that Li Daizi came in and I didn't escape, I would definitely be caught. If that Li Daizi spied on my memory, would I still be alive now? This path of cultivation is really dangerous. Cultivation is plundering, and only when you are strong can you be chivalrous. Especially the first half of the sentence, Wu Yu understood it more deeply. Every time I read the sentence, my feelings deepen. Plunder, spy. Dies it is coming out soon, just wait for death, Wu Yu. I'm curious, what is in your memory? Zhang Kaijun suddenly let go of him and chuckled. She won because she saw that Wu Yu was frightened by her. You have no chance, and there is no way you can know. After knowing Dai's plan, he didn't want to talk nonsense with her here, because he knew what the most important thing was next. In any case, he couldn't get close to Dai for the time being. This world of cultivation is full of dangers. Only 1 in a billion people can become an immortal. Do you think it's easy just to have an immortal inheritance? Even if 10,000 people have an immortal inheritance, only 1 or 2 can finally walk the path to immortality. I died halfway because I was not careful, Ming Long said with emotion. Indeed, it's not easy. But this didn't scare him. Are you scared? Ming Long asked. Wu Yu shook his head and said, actually, I have to thank Zhang Kaijun, otherwise, I would not know the danger. But this is definitely not fear. It's goals, fighting spirit, courage. One day, I will return the fear today to them. He felt that fear was different from fear. Fear was timidity, while fear was a reaction from the heart, which meant that the news was indeed terrible, but it did not scare him, but only raised his vigilance to a higher level. Go to hell, Zhang Kaijun threw the golden ring in his hand and blasted Wu Yu's clone apart. Of course, this could only make her feel a little relieved. The real good show has not yet begun. 3 updates today. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 590. 10 days are up. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow circled M. The time-controlling tower's hidden position in the clouds and mist has been floating away for the past 10 days. People were busy hunting machine beasts to seize the magic circle, and no longer paid attention to the ancient tower. Therefore, there was no people found here. The time is coming soon, and a clone of Wu Yu remains here. In fact, his heartstrings are already tense. Whether Emperor Yu comes out from here when the time is up will affect his subsequent goals and plans. He needs the long time that the time control tower brings him more than anyone else. The closer we are, the more days feel like years. In the world of the Sea of Clouds, the people of the Yanhuang ancient kingdom became even more furious after knowing that Wu Yu had forced Gongshuhori out of the Teiku Immortal Road. Whenever they encountered Wu Yu's clone, they would kill him without saying a word. His true form also almost encountered opponents several times. Fortunately, he had sharp eyes and was able to detect them in advance and leave first. As Zhang Kaijun said, Gu Jingxi is not so important, what is more important is their face. But Wu Yu didn't care about such nihilistic things. He was only concerned about whether Emperor Ji would come out of it. The time has come, and this is the moment when Emperor Keiru enters the Tower of Time Control. Wu Yu almost held his breath. But he soon laughed, because when the door of the Time Control Tower opened, a young man with a strange rune between his eyebrows, long hair reaching his waist, and a transcendent temperament and momentum that was simply unmatched, emerged from it. Come out. Wu Yu's blow seemed to have not caused him the slightest injury. He was incredibly lucky to have escaped from it. Just by looking at it, he realized how terrifying this emperor's son was. If you think about it carefully, he is a person who surpasses the overlords of the divine continent such as Yanhuang City Lord and Taixu Holy Lord, and he is not more than 50 years old. Even in the entire human world, he is the top and incredible existence. The emperor of the world. He came out, and after he came out, just as Wu Yu expected, the white time control tower disappeared behind him, disappearing in the blink of an eye. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Wu Yu. He quickly controlled all his clones to look for the missing time control tower, and his body was ready to go there at any time. The clone next to the Emperor was hiding in the dark and observing the Emperor. It was impossible for Wu Yu not to be hostile to him. Because as Zhang Kaijun described, he wanted to pry into his memory, and even kill his own people after he succeeded. Just by peeking into the memory, Wu Yu was not regarded as the hero who reported the news at all. If he knew about the Ruyi Golden Cudgel and the Monkey King, he would definitely be doomed. No, when Emperor Yu was about to leave, suddenly, he must have noticed the existence of Wu Yu's clone. His pure golden eyes flashed, and suddenly, the young man with the invisible aura of a human emperor, full of coercion, stood in front of Wu Yu's clone. "This is your clone, Wu Yu." Emperor Yu was very calm, as if he and Wu Yu had known each other for a long time. "Your Majesty." Wu Yu frowned and looked at him. "Oh, you know me. It seems that someone told you. Did you also say that I want to pry into your memory?" A smile appeared on the corner of Emperor Yu's mouth. This person, I'm afraid, can deduce these things from Wu Yu's expression and a few words. Indeed, you can feel the wisdom in his eyes. At this time, Wu Yu also saw the symbol between his eyebrows, which was the character. This is an ancient character, somewhat complicated, and has its own momentum. It is said that their clan has the purest bloodline. After birth, the position between the eyebrows will have its name, and there is no need for parents to name it. This is the blessing of the ancestors, and this is the case for Emperor Yu's son. That's right. However, I think this is an inappropriate way to deal with a person who risked his life to report the news. It is not the magnanimity that a majestic emperor should have. Wu Yu had already attacked him with Guanri, and now faced with this person who was much higher than me in identity, status, and strength didn't seem to bow his head. "Whatever you have, just say it." In his heart, he has no attitude of bowing to others. Unexpectedly, Emperor Yu smiled and said, "You are right, I was indeed rude before. I also underestimated you. Now I probably know what kind of person you are. People like you are not very good at lying. Of course you are not stupid, you certainly know how serious it would be to lie about the heaven-devouring demon ancestor, right, Wu Yu?" Wu Yu looked solemnly and said, "I am willing to guarantee with my life the matter of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor." The two worlds prison locking talisman was also given to the city Lord De Yan by people from the Yanhuang ancient region. Now the two puppets of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor have been trapped in it. He doesn't know when he will be able to escape. If the remaining people in Dongsheng Divine Continent cannot stop him, Divine Continent will definitely turn into a hell on earth in a short period of time. Of course, the entire Yanfu world will become a hell, and maybe also it's not that far away. In the story before Wu Yuan, the emperor also understood how terrifying the heaven-devouring demon ancestor was, and he might have misjudged it. Since the emperor was willing to chat with him, he boldly stated all this clearly. After listening, the other party actually nodded and said, "If these things are true, you are indeed a great contributor to our Yanhuang ancient kingdom. My original behavior was a bit abrupt. I apologize to you now and ask for your forgiveness. I will arrange for others to leave Teiku. Xianlu, don't worry, please pass this matter on to your elders first." Wu Yu never expected that he would say such things to him. Is this still the Le Diza that Zhang Kaijun described? Zhang Kaijun said that he didn't care about his own life at all. However, since the other party had spoken, and he also arranged for someone to go back and inform the elders, with his status, this matter was basically settled. No matter what Le Diza thought before, at least this idea is good for the entire Shenzhou now. He hurriedly said, "Le Diza can put the overall situation first, which is the luck of the Yanfu world. There is no need to apologize to me. If Shenzhou can be saved, I should thank you the most." This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Le Diza nodded, and he suddenly asked, "It is said that you robbed their ancient crystal stone." Sure enough, he was not there that day, and he was probably not interested. Wu Yu said, "Everyone was fighting for it, but I got it in the end. I am also from the ancient country of Yanhuang, why can't I get it alone? And I have already used it?" Haha. After hearing this, Daisa laughed dumbly, and then said, "What you said makes sense, at least this treasure was obtained by the people of my ancient country of Yanhuang. Okay, it's yours. I told them not to embarrass you. We are all family. With your talent, you will definitely come to the ancient country of Yanhuang in the future. This is your home. When the time comes, you are welcome to find me. Of course, if the matter of Shenzhou is true, I believe the elders will bring you back directly, and then they will give you more rewards." Wu Yu couldn't believe his ears. He attacked Daisa with Guanri. I remember that at that time, he also tried to capture me, but I just let myself escape. And now, not only does he want others to stop embarrassing me, but also let me find him after I arrive in the ancient country of Yanhuang? This is clearly a sign of recruiting. The princes of the mortal fairyland would also recruit powerful martial artists to expand their wings. However, in Wu Yu's expectation, this situation would not happen between him and Daisa. This incident happened too suddenly, and he really needed to calm down. Thank you, Daisa. The other party directly solved the crisis for him, and he didn't have to hide anymore. This was indeed a great favor. At this time, Daisa said, "In this case, we will meet again if we are destined." After he finished speaking, he turned around and left without saying much, and disappeared from Wu Yu's sight not long after. What's going on? Did I misunderstand this person? The performance of this Daisa at this moment is really like an emperor. However, I was once a prince, and I am quite familiar with the routine of this emperor's mind. I guess he found you powerful, or he wanted to find out the secrets of you, so he knew that this way of showing goodwill could get close to you and let you relax your vigilance. If you think positively, it means that this Daisa himself is not bad and has no hostility towards me. If you think negatively, it should be what you said. From the fact that he wanted to spy on my memory from the beginning, what you said makes sense. In any case, don't approach him. Yet, no matter what kind of person he is, it is still possible to be dangerous if you approach him easily. He put this matter aside for now and tried his best to find the time control tower. All the clones acted together and searched everywhere. Not long after, he really found that the people of the ancient country of Yanhuang did not seem to be looking for him everywhere, but turned to kill the mechanical beasts. Of course, their expressions were still somewhat unwilling, probably because of Daisa's strong request. At least in this matter, Daisa helped Wu Yu. As for Zhang Kaijun, Wu Yu's clone once met her. She did not destroy Wu Yu's clone as before, but looked at Wu Yu coldly, turned around and left. Judging from her bloodshot golden eyes, she should not be very willing. Wu Yu was too lazy to care about her. He had to find the time control tower as soon as possible to save others from entering and delaying for 10 days. Hard work pays off. 2 days later, one of the clones finally found the time control tower. So, Wu Yu's original body and clone all gathered in front of the time control tower and then entered it. This time was a little luckier, and no one else found that he had entered. But, maybe 10 days later, someone else will go in from outside. It's just a possibility. For example, when Daisa went in, no one was waiting outside. I don't know what level of puppet Daisa challenged in there. And, does he know the secret of that mysterious door? Or even opened it? With suspicion, Wu Yu entered the time control tower. Here, the sun was still shining, and it seemed that nothing had changed. Then, 9 magic arrays of different colors began to emerge from it, and shadows appeared in the magic arrays one by one.